Hello there, everyone.
Yay!
Gong here, joined by YapQueenGwen and GageTheGnome for yet another Neurodivergence talk. We've had 2 so far. Both sessions were very nice. I was very happy to have deep conversations about neurodivergency with Stone, Ryder, and Maple earlier, and now I'm excited to talk about the same stuff here. Maybe a few different things involved as well with Gwen and Gage here as well. How are y'all doing? Hope you're having a good day.
Hi, I'm doing okay.
Same here.
Ah.
Been a good day.
Eh.
It was a long day. Frick work.
Yeah, frick work.
Yeah. Oh, I should also make sure to send the Pixel Chat invite for your captions as well.
Oh yeah, I got.
Yeah, there y'all go.
Hold on.
Oh, right. Right.
Right. All right then.
All right then. What do you want about it? I like that the captions actually still picked that up for what I said. Somehow they can get me doing a terrible British accent to get something to work, but I can try to speak normal plain English and it completely messes up what I said.
Because English is a broken language.
Well, yeah, this is true too. Very true.
All right. But yeah. Let's go ahead and start with the same question I've asked others. Let's top things off with. What is both of yours neurodivergence, and are you diagnosed or undiagnosed? I myself am diagnosed autism spectrum disorder.
There's an order we're going in, or just?
You can go ahead in any order.
So I am diagnosed. Original diagnosis was with a term that we don't really use anymore in the community, which is Asperger's.
Oh, same with me.
Then changed over to just autism spectrum disorder. Got diagnosed when around age 10.
For me, I am diagnosed with ADHD. That's just within the last couple of years. And self-diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder.
I mentioned I do also have ADHD.
Wee!
Very comorbid. But yeah, for both of you, what prompted a diagnosis or self-diagnosis?
For me, it started when I was very, very young. I always displayed what my parents would describe as odd tendencies because they had several children prior to me. I was very finicky when it came to certain things. It's like certain foods, texture especially, would kind of make me freak out as a child. And they're like, that's weird. Because you like the flavor of this thing, but it's in this particular form that you just kind of freak out for it. And I started to have a lot of trouble in school, followed by various stems that were very apparent, different things that I would do that, a child doesn't just randomly do for no apparent reason. And so they wouldn't, so the doctor saw the psych, got the diagnosis.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, it was, okay, so as an adult, my one of my friends was diagnosed with ADHD. And I was like, oh, that sounds really familiar. And so I got the diagnosis from my GP. I've been on some medications for the last couple years to help with that. Usually it's stimmies. Stimmies are great. But autism kind of rang some bells for me after my niece was diagnosed, and it just made sense. And then I started looking into it more, looked at the DSM-5 and was like, oh wait, this isn't what a neurotypical person would do, is it? So it's pretty obvious.
It's a little off here. I have a quick question.
Yeah.
About how long were you wanting to go? Because I don't want to like have too long of a response or too short of a response. Just, like, unnecessarily.
Yeah, technically this is a 2-hour one, but only things after this are really just me. So it's whatever time. If it's 2 hours, if it goes over 2 hours, whatever.
Okay. I just didn't want to go too far in depth if we were in like a hurry or anything.
No, you're good. You're good. I would love to go more in depth. I feel sorry for the talk I had with Maple because there was still plenty more I feel like we could have gone over, but got pressed for time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So yeah, you're good. You're good. Yap away, YapQueenGwen.
It's what I do.
It's in the name.
All right. So how comfortable are both of you with talking about your neurodivergency?
I am very comfortable. Sometimes I feel like I might be too comfortable just because like certain topics are hard for people to discuss and feel it feels like I am very open to everything to a point where I don't understand like what is too far for most people, because everything's on the table when I'm having conversations. Like, you know, I can detect the very obvious things like, oh, you don't just trauma dump for people, but like if someone's asking me different questions about my neurodivergency, I won't stray away from giving an in-depth answer if that's what they are comfortable with. I think it's important to a degree to talk about the different things that you experience, because not a lot of people out there really understand you know, the different aspects of being on the spectrum. And I think a lot of horrendous myths have come to be, as I'm sure everyone here is very familiar with. And I think the more that we talk about it, the more that we can normalize it for what it really is. It's, you know, just another way to live life. You don't really get to choose how your brain functions or how you fully respond to things subconsciously. And I firmly believe that the more you talk about it, the more that people will see it as normal as it is. Just because it's not, you know, the neurotypical thing to do doesn't mean it's not normal. It's just a different kind of normal.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's one of the parts for why I wanted to do these, is a part to help people learn and understand, maybe helps guide someone who was unsure or who didn't think to even question this. And part of it is also just to be like, hey, we're all normal people here too. We have our own struggles, but yeah, we're still here, we're still normal. It just may not be the normal you're used to.
Yeah, we're still normal people.
Yeah.
Just don't call me a normie.
Very different, very different.
Right. How comfortable are you talking about it, Gage?
I'm pretty comfy with it. I also grew up in the era of oversharing, so it was the norm. But I was just like, oh yeah, that's what you do, right? Just because that's my comfort level with most things.
Relatable. I feel like the big thing that I always heard growing up, because a lot of people don't talk about things in their life enough. You know, it's a heavy thing in American culture, at least, where people kind of lock things down and never really talk about the feelings that they have, or, you know, especially in different decades of American life, it's been, you know, frowned upon or viewed as weak to discuss like things that are really affecting you emotionally or like in your personal life. And being the way that I am, whenever I was told, you know, you should always open up and, you know, be straightforward with people, I take it very literally, and I just interpreted it immediately as, okay, just do this. Like there's no need to really lock things away. And so as much as like I don't go dumping all the traumatic things that have happened in my life, I'm very, very quick to just talk about it with people. And it very much confused me when like I learned that that's not something that people very often do in life. You know, like going into late middle school, early high school, discovering that most people just kind of kept things to themselves, and I would often hear, like, why would you, bring that up? Or I remember one person saying, "What made you think it was okay to talk about that right now?" It was a big shock to me, because I thought, this is what we've always been told is, open up, and when something's serious, talk about it, or if something's bothering you, talk about it. But no one was, and I didn't understand why I was being told this one thing my whole life, and then it's very clearly not treated that way by the broad public. So yeah, I think that heavily impacted the way I go about talking about the things that impact me.
Real quick, there might be a bit of an issue with the pixel chat captions. Gwen, are you in it?
I thought so, but I might have accidentally messed something up.
Okay, yeah, I don't see you in the connected users. And Gage, can you talk a bit to make sure it's working for you as well?
Is it working?
Okay, yeah, it's working for you now.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I think
okay,
I had to.
I gotta get heads up that it's doesn't seem to be working for either of you two.
Oh,
it's told me the link is invalid currently.
Oh.
Wicked.
Oh, I think it's like is it just a one person one at a time? That's a little annoying if so. There you go, there's another one then.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that, because it does send it so that it can filter who is who. And
that makes sense.
Accidentally combine people's. So
okay.
One link is for Gage, one is for me.
Alright, that second one will be for you then.
Take that one.
I've always just press stop and start real quick to make sure it works. As soon as I see...
Oh wait, I opened it in the wrong freaking browser.
Oh.
That's so silly.
No, you're good.
I had Chrome open, and then I clicked the link, which opens it in a different browser automatically. Yeah, I need a new one. I'm so sorry, Nate. I'm so stupid.
You're fine. This is the first time I've been really using Pixel Chat, so I'm learning too.
That's fair. I wanted to show it to you earlier, but I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do that for you.
It's okay. Today I was pretty busy anyways.
Yeah, that's fair. Although I hope stream has been a lot of fun.
Oh, it's been a good time. The captions have open dyslexic.
Can I get a new link?
Okay.
another one.
Yeah, because once you click one of the links, then it's supposed to block it off for anyone else. So when I opened in the wrong browser, it of course locked me out. There we go. And is that working?
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah, you're even working there.
Yes.
Gwen, do you know if
Yeah,
there's
I
like
see,
a
I see.
dyslexic option here to help with people who have dyslexia to read?
It does have open dyslexia. I've used it before. It's in the settings.
Nail hit on head.
Bonk. Big ol' bonk.
Oh, okay.
It should be in the overlay settings, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, because mine's always set to open dyslexic.
Is that a font name?
Here, let me pull it back up. I'll see exactly where it is.
Hey, I'm gonna pause right here on the recording.
It's a whole lot more legible.
Okay, there we go. We're
Sure.
back. All right, sorry about that. It's a bit of a divergence in the talk.
Tangents with neurodivergent people? No way. I don't know what you're talking about.
Stay on track? If I could do that, I'd be paid a lot.
That first talk, we were constantly going off track, even though I had the structure still. It's also a lot of being like, "Oh, I have something. Oh, I forgot what it was."
That is so right. We all learned something.
Yeah. All right. Let's
Now just
continue on with this though. Let's go into the topic for how does neurodivergence look in your everyday lives. Let's go with social circle side of things.
Ooh, wait. Actually, Gage, do you want to go first this time?
Sure.
Wicked.
For me, at least in everyday life, I like to say I have the perfect brain cocktail now to help with my masking and just generally like being able to function, I would say. I take Concerta, which is a stimulant, and sertraline, which is generic Zoloft, which, fun fact, generic Zoloft can help with meltdowns, autistic meltdowns. Fun fact. There's some research about that. And so it that has definitely helped me with being able to not cry when things go wrong. And just helps with the stress of the day. And also being able to have virtual conversations, even just like this, has been a huge help. Yeah. Her sertraline havers rise up. Let's go, ninja. Yeah, I would say that, and also just finding spaces that feel right. Like, I'm part of a silent book club, which is also not very silent, but we're all just talking about the books we're reading. And it's a really cool thing if you have like social anxiety, which is comorbid and very typical for neurodivergence. Finding comfy, cozy places.
Valid? Oh, wait. I don't know if you finished or not. I don't want to actually cut you off.
Oh, yeah, I'm finished. You're all good.
Okay. Sorry, very bad at telling how much time has passed when people stop talking. I don't know when people are done.
What is time? Time blindness? But
True, which actually kind of plays into what I was gonna say. When it comes to social circles, which I'm gonna include, like the broad spectrum of social circles, work, and friendships, etc. A big issue for me, having both ADHD and being on the spectrum, is time blindness is definitely one of the biggest ones that I have. One of the hardest things I've always had is making sure that I'm somewhere on time or doing a certain thing within a certain set time frame. And like growing up, that really manifested itself as like getting the house chores done on time, or being where my parents needed me to be exactly when they needed me to be there. I would always, and still do, overestimate how much stuff I can do in a set time frame. Like if I have to get a lot of work done, I will be like, okay, this work is going to take me about 30, 45 minutes. I'm going to try and have an hour for that. And I go to do that stuff, and 2 hours later, I'm finally getting done with it. And I'm like, that definitely took way longer than I thought it would. I don't know why. I'll time things out, and I'll think that I have it down to a science of some sort, and it doesn't happen that way. And that's definitely shown itself as an issue when it comes to like friendships, relationships, and work. I've been late to work a fair amount of times in my life. I got fired one time for being repeatedly a few minutes late to work. By a few minutes, I mean like anywhere from 1 to 5 minutes, which I thought was okay at the time. It turns out it was not a real policy. It was just something that people said there, unfortunately. But I would always try to get there on time. I'd leave, if work was 15 minutes away, I'd try to leave 20 minutes, 25 minutes ahead. But I'd find myself rushing out the door with just that 15 minutes to get there, and usually end up a couple minutes late. And work would always hammer home the idea of, well, I bet you're not late to, like a concert or to hang out with your friends. Little do they know. No, I am. I am pretty much always late to the things that I want to be to. It doesn't matter if it's something that I have to do or something that I want to do. I could want it more than anything, and I will unfortunately end up late to whatever is happening. There's been a lot of times where I've planned to go to an event with friends, and they're like, "Okay, we got to be there at 6:30," and I'll be trying to get there at 6:15, and there I am, 6:35, sending a text message saying, "Sorry, still in traffic, still trying to make it there. I'm so sorry. I apologize," and I just can't manage to be on time most of the time. There's times that I can make it, times that things do go the way my brain thinks they will go. But I often beat myself up because I'm so often late to things, and I feel like I try very hard not to be. But then I, have those thoughts of like, am I trying hard enough? Because my whole life I've been told that I wasn't really trying. No matter how much effort I put into it. So it can definitely be a strain on work relationship. Sometimes it's a strain on friendships, but I've been very, very fortunate in my life, in the last decade especially, to have made a lot of friends that are understanding of that fact. They know that I don't understand time very well, and that a lot of things come up and I might run into something or forget something. So none of my current friends are, ever harsh on me about it. They are more than willing to wait. Usually they have ways of finding something else to do in the meantime, or just honestly are very sweet about it. It wasn't always that case, and it definitely ruined a few friendships, to not be able to make it to things on time. And there's also the aspect of stimming, which has made certain friendships very awkward, particularly earlier in life. I know that one of the first signs that I might have been on the spectrum growing up was that I would stim a lot. And just a very short minor detour on that is, as a kid, I remember watching a news segment when I was like 4 or 5. Like, this is a faint memory, but I have confirmed it did happen. And they were talking about neurodivergency, and particularly autism spectrum disorder, and how people stim and different ways that it can manifest, and different things that people can do or say. And I remember as it was playing, I was like, wait a minute, that's me. Like, I do that. And I went and told my mom, like, hey, like the thing that's happened on TV, like I relate to that. I finally feel like someone else gets me. And unfortunately, the thing that I'll never forget is that she was like, no, that's not you. You don't say that. People have a problem. And that stuck with me. The sentence about it being a problem and her very misinformed interpretation of what it meant to be on the spectrum made me not really understand myself. And it meant that to me, in my brain, I didn't have anything. And unfortunately, my parents, when they got me diagnosed, had it struck from my record, which can be an understandable thing to do. Some people do it specifically so that, your kid won't be discriminated against, or that the school won't hold it against them in any way, or, a parent might be worried that their kid will be put in a program that's not going to help them, whatever the reason might be. As a result, I never got told until I was an adult that I actually was on the spectrum. I went my whole life kind of knowing, but not actually knowing. And so when I would stim a lot, which very common ones were, I would like plug one nostril and blow out the other, just unsatiable urge to do it for some reason, and I didn't get why I felt the need to do it. I would like look very far to the left or to the right of my eye, and just kind of hold it there, like I felt like I just had to do it. And in stressful situations, it would make me feel more comfortable. It would come off as weird, or to some people creepy. And so, throughout school, that definitely affected a lot of friendships that I could have had, because people thought, oh, it's the weird kid. I think that's why it's very important to talk about these things, and to let people know that it is normal, that it's not, some creepy thing that's happening. Just broad awareness of what it means to be on the spectrum and the things that entail from it allows a lot more normal interactions to happen between people and for people to understand each other better and to not make things up, because people have very wild imaginations about that stuff. And the things that they can think of might not always be very nice. So it's best to spread proper information to help avoid whatever the mind might think up. But yeah, that's about how it affects my social circles.
All right, thank you very much. Anything else you'd like to add as well, Gage?
Not that.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good. All right. How about like when it comes to like family life? Anything you're comfortable sharing on that side of things for your personal lives? When it comes to neurodiversity, at least.
I know for me, it runs in the family. There's definitely some level of neurodivergency. Like I said, my niece is on the spectrum, and she has other developmental issues that are compounding so that she will be one of those people who will need care as an adult, just because she can't, she's just differently abled. And just seeing how that has affected my sister, and like how her own neurodivergence has, because she's also stated she feels like she has ADHD probably, and it does run in families. So it's interesting to watch that and how that's affecting her emotionally. But we're all very supportive of each other. I know for me, getting the ADHD diagnosis also pushed my brother to get checked out for ADHD, because he was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. There are the comorbidities with all the other mood disorders that we have in the family. I don't want to put all of our dirty laundry out there, but like we definitely know we got spicy brains. So it's been comforting to come together in the ways that we have, to support each other. It definitely was a struggle initially, but as we learned more about autism with my niece, it became easier to talk about certain things, and I feel like we're all on good footing now with that, and we're all kind of coming to terms with it together, which is nice. And I know it's not the norm for a lot of people who are neurodivergent. It's often the opposite, but I feel like I feel privileged in that way, I would say. And I recognize that.
Okay. Thank you as well.
So for me, most of my family has some sort of neurodivergency. Most of them diagnosed, some of them it's just like, please just go double check, because they never wanted to figure out. But when it comes to ADHD, most of my family is very understanding, and that's because before I came around, I have an older sister that was diagnosed, and so My mom in particular had a lot of time getting used to understanding what ADHD is and how it affects someone. Because of my older sister going, through that process with her. So when I got diagnosed, my mom was like, "Okay, been here before. We just gotta do what we can." She's definitely made a lot of mistakes. So for the most part, she is pretty understanding for most of the things that come out of it. But some issues I might run into, there's not as much support there. Unfortunately, half of my family is like super supportive of neurodivergencies, and the other half not so much. It's a very split dynamic. So the main supports that I like to go to are typically just really my younger sister, because I don't know, I'm looking forward to the youth these days. It seems like they're definitely on a much better footing in understanding neurodivergency than previous generations have been. So we have a great relationship. She's definitely a lot more neurotypical. Just never, actually checked anything with a psych or anything, but that's not really necessary. I'm very fortunate that she is super understanding and tries her best to, know the different parts of what it means to be on the spectrum, or to be someone who has ADHD as a diagnosis. All the little quirks that I have and things, she's just like, "No, I get it. Do whatever you got to do." If I stop mid-sentence because I have a stim that's occurring, she's just like, "Take your time. I'll be here. I'm listening." Whereas there's other family members that, certain things they will just not want anything to do with, or just unfortunately don't believe are a thing. I am very fortunate for the family members that I have who are understanding, because it allows me to have a very strong personal connection with them. And it's a very clear indicator that all it takes is a little understanding, and you can have a very normal, healthy relationship with people, just by coming to understanding them a little bit better. So I appreciate the family members who can do that.
Heck yeah. Always good to have a supportive group around you, especially when it's family and other people who have been very close to you for most of your life. Like, knowing that they're still on your side is very nice. It's that other side of the family members who really don't care to understand, or will willfully ignore some things that, yeah, they can be a problem as well. But glad to hear there's some support groups for y'all.
Having a pillar is very important.
Yeah. For sure.
And,
I like what you said about your sister giving you time to talk to.
Yeah.
Whenever I pause like that, my partner's just like, "You're buffering. It's okay.
Yeah.
You'll get there."
It's very nice when people are sweet about it.
Yeah.
Oh, the buffer is very much real. I'm pretty sure I just did that without thinking about it, now that I realized there was a pause between hearing that and saying something. Processing, out.
That's why, when I'm at work, I'll tell people, if they say something to me, a lot of the neurotypical people will expect a very quick response. If you know something, and if you don't, we'll be like, "Okay, maybe you don't know it, or it's fine if you don't." And I'm like, "I'm just trying to understand what you just said. Give me 30 seconds to just know what you said."
The worst thing is when you're almost ready to talk and they start speaking for you, and it's like, "Shut up and let me talk."
I was getting there.
Both sides of audio processing disorder. The buffer before you go with what you were going to give as your response, as well as the buffer being like, "I heard words. I saw their mouth move. What was the noise that was made?"
And then suddenly you're like, "Oh wait, I know what they said."
Yeah.
They start saying it again. You're interrupting them immediately. Yeah.
One of those times where you're like, "What did you say?" "Oh wait, no, never mind. I know what you said. My bad." It took me a second to know what you said, but I know what you said.
Yeah. All right, that was school life with all of you, whether it was a diagnosis or not.
Well, back in my day.
I feel like I might be the oldest one here. I'm 31, gonna be 32. No, I'm not
Oh
31.
no.
Am I
am older
31?
than you.
I'm
I
32,
am an
turning
old
32.
79. I'm old.
Oh, okay.
I'm ancient. No.
I'm old enough to keep forgetting my
I'm the
age.
youngest. Ah!
You are baby.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
36.
Oh, okay. I'm used to being
I
the
am
oldest
26.
I'm no longer baby. You are the baby.
one.
We have big sibling.
Alright.
Oh no.
Alright, but it's, sorry, school life with neurodiversity.
I'll go first on this one. School life. I know that there's some stuff coming up that I'm gonna hold some things for, question wise, but for the most part, not knowing that I was diagnosed was kind of rough. As I mentioned, you know, a lot of different stims and stuff would occur, and I got some very odd interactions with people as a result of that. And I think in that regard, really quick, the most memorable one I have is one dude. I think it was like we were sitting in an English class and everyone was just doing their own thing at their tables, and then he suddenly comes up to me and he's like, "Are you on drugs?" I mean, like, yes, but not the ones you're thinking of. I'm on prescription drugs. And it's because of the stims that I was doing. He thought that I was on coke. And after I was like, no, I'm not. I mean, like, aside from my prescription medication, no. Very clearly got upset and went back to the table and very obviously had lost a bet. So not a fun interaction. People just making wild assumptions just based on small things, which should never really happen. It impacted school life quite a bit though, because you know, like, these are the people that you're around for, like, in some instances up to 12 years. Like, whatever weird ideas they end up thinking of will ultimately impact the experience that you have sitting in a classroom with them all the goddamn time. But in terms of like schoolwork and stuff, I think, you know, not crawling into the different ways that the brain can handle certain stuff when you're neurodivergent versus neurotypical. I think there's a lot of instances that having known I was diagnosed or the school being aware of it would have been a lot more helpful. You know, there's aspects of schoolwork that just didn't click for me in normal classrooms, as they put them. I would learn very, very easily, but was not very good with the work aspect of things. And a lot of the environments I was put in were very time crunch heavy for assignments that I was not going to complete. So I never really got a lot of schoolwork done. I was definitely one of the show up and take the test and I'm writing off that grade till the end of the semester type beat. So it created a lot of unfortunate conversations with staff members where they would say, and I know a lot of neurodivergent people can relate to this sentence, you know, like, they're such a smart person and they're very talented. If only they would apply themselves, and only if they would try. And it's like, I'm trying my ass off. Like, I'm dying. Help! I'm drowning. Yeah. Meanwhile, you're putting in all this effort just to hear that someone thinks you're not trying whatsoever. It's very shattering. And I think had they known, or if I was in a classroom with teachers that understood, I think that would have been a much better experience. But that unfortunately is not the experience I had. I unfortunately had teachers who had no clue what was going on, or even if they were aware of it, didn't truly understand it or care to understand it. And it created a lot of, you know, sad situations. But I made it through. I passed. I graduated. I'll take it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Hey, congrats on all of the work and effort that was put in as well. You did a great job. I'm proud of you.
Thank you. I'm gonna go cry.
You're doing great, Gwen. We love you, Gwen.
Oh my god.
How about you, Gage?
I had a similar experience. I feel like Gwen said, all of us have had that moment of they would, they'd do so well if they just apply themselves. It's like I can only do so much with all of the processing that I am doing constantly. I know it's also different for me as someone assigned female at birth, and like growing up in the 90s. Like it just, I was shoved into like a gifted, talented program, and then like when I got bored, they just piled on more stuff, and it's like, okay, well, now I'm drowning, thanks. But it's also okay, going back to the AFAB thing. Okay, the jumping around is happening already. Okay.
You're good, you're good.
But in someone who's AFAB, they're not going to see the little girl who's speaking precociously and sitting in a corner and reading an encyclopedia because they found a rock on the playground. They want to know what it is. They aren't going to see those as signs of autism. They're going to see those as just, oh, that's a know-it-all who needs to be shoved into this gifted and talented program. And then when like that gifted and talented kid starts to disappoint, they're like, oh, well, maybe you should have applied yourself. There was a lot of that growing up. Yeah, exactly.
Hey, shout out to all of us former gifted program students, now depressed adults, some of whom are just now realizing they're neurodivergent, some of them do for a long time.
Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, like I didn't want to disappoint my mom because she knows I'm smart. She knows. So every time I'd come home with like a C on like a math test or something, she would just be like, I don't understand why. And I'm like, I don't either. I don't know. I'm sorry. But I made it through. I got my my bachelor's.
Oh hell yeah!
After the second attempt, and now it's. I feel like my first attempt, my brain was just too traumatized, but then the second attempt was great. So I would say, actually going into studies that I enjoyed too helped, because I studied sociology in college, and women's and gender studies.
Oh wow.
So for sociology, I'm like, I don't get people, man. People in groups too. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. So being able to study that and have a better understanding of that also speaks to my neurodivergence. So yeah. I would say that's my academic experience with neurodivergence.
I just want to tack on. I relate to the grade thing. I distinctly remember that my mom had a rule that if I ever got lower than a B, because she said, I know what you're capable of. Yeah, I was grounded. Period.
Oh wow.
So I spent like an entire year and a half grounded because I couldn't pull above a B in one class.
Oh no.
I definitely had a different academic experience for things, because my side of things was, oh yeah, B is wild for that getting below a B was, but yeah.
Agreed. She said I had to be 85 or higher.
Damn.
Damn.
So even if it was a B, but it was like an 84, it doesn't count.
Yep. For me, all right, the school side of things, I've talked about like the social side of school and growing up as a kid with autism, the struggles of being the weird loner kid that's because couldn't connect properly with other people, but on the school side of things, had a not great principal my first couple of years in elementary school. Struggled a bit because of constantly getting in trouble with people who got upset with me because of the outburst I would have in class, because I would be going through sensory overload. Which is not a fun feeling for anyone. Anyone who knows what I'm talking about will be like, oh yeah, I know those anxiety attacks you're talking about. But
Being overstimulated is horrifying.
yeah. I don't mean to make it to all of a sudden feel like every wind is brushing against me. I don't mean to hear lights from across the room or have every smell accentuated to the highest degree all of a sudden. It just happens and it freaks me out. And I'm just reacting in fear at that time. And but yeah, when I got some I got put in the gifted program, the teacher there was actually a very kind and understanding person who really helped me out. Would listen to me, let me go through like whatever interest I had at the time. And sorry, I didn't say this before, but first of all, thanks, Pat, for the raid earlier. And hey, Luke, thank you for the raid right now as well. Thank you for joining me with Repo earlier. It was a lot of fun.
Hi, Raiders.
For those who don't know, Gamasodakong, Nathan, he, him pronouns. Currently doing this Neurodivergents talk with YapQueenGwen and GageTheGnome as we go ahead and discuss being alive as Neurodivergents. As during this a big extravaganza to continue pushing to raise money for ASAN. But yeah. Hope you all had a good time. But yeah, continue on with school. There was, when I had like those good programs starts to help me out, there was then like things like if I felt myself getting a panic attack or anything coming in, I was allowed to just go into the hallway, get a drink of water, spend some whatever time I needed to chill, and then come back in. I thought I was in trouble the first couple of times, but with nothing bad happening, it was like, oh, this is nice. Okay, this is nice. I have this time to myself now. Okay. Never abused the system or anything. It was definitely a thing of like kid me being like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and actually take this because I do want to go back in the classroom. And yeah, grades were only a struggle on the things I had no interest in. If I could get engaged by a challenge or by something that seemed fun, I was locked in. It was when it was like English class, if there was a book I wasn't vibing with, I would refuse to read it. But because kid me found out how to work tests so I could get the quizzes right without actually knowing the subject, I was still doing okay. It was, yeah, I didn't really struggle too much grade-wise, but it was college that became a bit of a struggle with the jump in difficulty, as well as just the stress of worrying about the money and everything. Ended up taking me like double, it took me like 8 years of going in and out of college before finally getting a degree.
Same.
Yeah.
I forgot college was a thing. Funnily enough, on a similar note, I flunked out of college twice. Purely because I could not handle the whole concept of, okay, you're in charge of yourself. You figured this out. I can't do that. Help, please. Somebody tell me what to do and when I gotta do it, because I don't know what's going on.
Same. I also had crippling depression because I was in a bad relationship, so it didn't help.
Oh.
Yay.
My parents got divorced my second or third year into college, and that I flunked out of my classes because I was so depressed that I didn't even show up.
I won't dive
Same.
into my trauma, but same. I got depressed to the point where I didn't want to go either.
Trauma dumping. Let's go.
Hell yeah. Those
Yo, we're all gonna share our traumas
those are probably
now.
only not consensually partly attached.
You'll get there.
That's partly attached to neurodivergence. Hey, right there was
Uh-huh.
partly a display of something that's common with autism. Not remembering words so good
Especially when I
sometimes.
need them.
Uh-huh.
They're lodged in the brain. They definitely exist there. I know those words, but sometimes, which sucks as a DM and like D&D sometimes, you just forget what the word roof is. So you just go, yeah, you know, the piece of wood above the room. It's dangling there. What's it called again?
When someone's like, "You mean the roof?"
That's it, the roof, the roof.
No, actually I don't. Something else.
Oh, that's not what I mean. Not at all.
No, no, it's actually more complicated. You wouldn't understand.
A hat for a building, yeah. Oh, God.
As a DM, I relate.
It just sucks. Trying to go through writing right now and constantly having the thesaurus up to be like, okay, what's the word I'm thinking about right now?
The worst
I
part
always
is
remember 5
like,
minutes later when I don't need it anymore.
Yeah.
yeah. For me, like, it's super embarrassing because like, I used to read the dictionary. Like, I know so many words. Why won't they come to me?
I think I unironically helped my sister just develop even better like understanding of keeping track of where a conversation has been, because she's gotten so used to me doing that I can say, oh, I can't think of the word, whatever, and then we'll move on. 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, I'll be like, oh yeah, the word was that, and she'll know exactly what I'm talking about. She'll be like, oh yeah, you're familiar when we were talking about blah blah blah. I'm like, I don't know how you remember that, but yeah.
Oh, so
Thank you
you
for
all
remembering.
also have the thing of having a conversation and in it you're like, oh wait, who's this person again? God, it was this one actor from this one movie. And then 2 weeks later, it just dawns on you out of nowhere. It's like, that's who I was thinking of. Why am I just now remembering this? Where did that come from?
I'm so glad that I have people that care. I'll just text you like, hey, I remembered the thing, and like, I'm so happy for you.
Oh boy. But yeah, continuing on for neurodivergence everyday life, how about professional lives?
Gage?
You wanna go first, Gwen? Oh, time to fight.
I took the last two. This one's all yours, buddy.
All right. I know for me, I did bounce around with jobs, but I've been employed since I was 18. I haven't been unemployed for more than like 2 months ever. I think, well, no, that's a fib. 3 months. The longest was 3 months. But I always ended up finding something. But I lucked out because I work in IT at a university, and there's so many other neurodivergents around. It's just it's comfy. And there's a lot of downtime so that if I do get overwhelmed, I can just take a break, stare at my computer stare at like one screen, just have like my like fish creature collector game going. Just stare and zone out. Unfortunately, my job has a lot of communication, and I've learned very quickly, because I've been at this job for like 6 years now. Oh my god, almost 7 years. Oh my god, what is time? Oh no. Anyway, so almost 7 years. I would say within the first 6 months, I learned the ways that certain people like to be talked to. And it's just interesting using my neurodivergence for that, because a lot of it is just fight or flight, I would say. I know with a lot of communication, that's what it ends up being. And so I think of each email as a little fight to defend my brain. So, you know, that's kind of nice.
Valid.
Yeah. Gwen?
I'm sorry. Again, really bad at telling when people are done.
Sorry, were you done, Gage? I should have asked that first.
Nah, I'm done.
Okay.
I'm really bad at showing when I'm done. I was trying to do better. I'm sorry.
You're good. You're
It's
both
okay,
good.
We're all neurodivergent here.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No, we none of us know what's going on.
The fuck is going on?
Where am I?
I'm glad I have this outline out for us too, so that way we don't just completely get lost every 2 minutes.
Nate, that's why I'm also staring at it, because I'm like, also, I shouldn't go on too many tangents and answer every single question in the list all in one question. Probably not the best thing. Which I'm going to do a little bit right now, and I'm sorry.
No, you're good. It's okay to go over things multiple times.
So, you know, I already touched on a little bit how it's impacted like work stuff. Professionally, it has definitely, you know, negatively impacted a lot of job experiences. As I mentioned before, for anyone that wasn't here, time blindness, very, very real. Often late to things. I try my best not to be, and to a degree, I've gotten, you know, better at finding methods to get around it. So like this past year, I think I've been late to work maybe 4 times in the last 365 days. And even then it was only within like a few minutes. Whereas in the past, it was definitely more than that. Unfortunately, it's just very difficult to manage, and, you know, being the adult in your own life is very hard. I think as a child, it was a lot easier to show up to things on time because I had, you know, family members making sure that I was there, making sure that I was getting ready in time, that things were always done. So when it comes to work and having to be in charge of all that yourself, you know, that's kind of the expectation as well. It's very difficult to do things the way that other people think they should be done. I would say there's definitely aspects to that could cost me my job right now, but also my job can't get rid of me for different reasons. There's, you know, different ways that being on the spectrum can impact the way that you do things or learn things or gain skills and stuff. As you kind of touched on a little bit for school stuff, Nate, for me, it's very hard to focus on things that my brain is not interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that, you know, something that I'm not doing well and I'm not necessarily interested in, or that I don't care. You know, it's just kind of whatever the brain latches onto, and what subtly engages it kind of just determines how you interact with it, unfortunately. So with topics that don't tickle the brain itch of I really want to do this, or I really want to try this thing, it's very hard to focus on. It's very hard to get work done, and keeping up with the fact that my job is fixing tech for people, and, you know, making sure they understand what happened to it, how it was fixed, etc. I'm on heavy time crunches. You know, there's turnaround times that I have to quote people before I start on something. There's issues that can arise in the process, and finding a way to manage all of those things time-wise is very, very difficult in general, but especially if you're neurodivergent, managing that stuff is not easy. Fortunately, I have some very understanding coworkers, some not so much, but the ones that really matter are understanding, and they work around and they try to make sure that, you know, people don't pull me away from stuff. Because one big thing for me, and anyone with ADHD I know can typically relate to this very, very heavily, and various others can, but I can't remember the exact term at the moment, but it's essentially the wall to get something started. When you have a task that you have to accomplish, a neurotypical person would typically just be like, okay, I gotta do this thing, I gotta do it in this amount of time, and I'm gonna go get started. For someone with ADHD and just various neurodivergencies in general, the process is typically, I have this thing to do. I have to build up the energy to do it. Wow, I really don't want to do this. Wow, I really have to do this. Wow, this is very important. All these things could go wrong if I don't do this. All these things need to happen, so it has to be done. And you kind of work yourself up into a fit. You have to build the energy to actually overcome the wall to get started on the process. So you spend a large chunk of time to get going. But once you're going, you can typically work pretty effectively. Like personally, I work a lot faster than my coworkers, but again, there's still that massive delay at the beginning to get started. And if I'm going and someone breaks me out of what I'm doing or pulls me away for something else, I have to go back to that wall again and restart the whole process of, now I got to think it through, now I actually got to work up the energy to do it, and I have to get started. And that means if it's a busy day and people constantly need to divert my attention and pull me away for things and questions, I don't get shit done. But if you manage to leave me be for even just a couple hours, I can do double to triple the output of most of my coworkers. Just because it's something that I'm good at and it's something I really enjoy doing, which is where I'm very fortunate in my job, is that I love technology. It's something I've always been passionate about. I like to fix problems. I like to make things, which is why I see that I make a lot of silly things in Firebot for people. It's a lot of fun for me. It's a very heavy passion that I have. And so with my job being trying to figure out what's wrong with the piece of technology, like why is this computer not working? How do I fix it? I'm very good at that because I very much enjoy it. So most of my life I have learned how to do that. I've studied it, I've done it in practice, and I've learned it very, very quickly, because if you're neurodivergent and you have an interest, it's the exact opposite of the things that you're not interested in. You will focus on it so heavily that you can learn it very quickly at times, and you can get very efficient at something that, other people might take a little bit longer to do. It's not a general rule, but it's quite common. Fortunately, it's one of those things. So while I might not always be the best at time management, my job also can't get rid of me because I'm the best person that they have at it. And so they're kind of stuck with me. I got my job security there. But fortunately, they're also very understanding of how my neurodivergency impacts my job. So whenever we get a new manager or something and they're like, why is this fucker not doing shit? There'll be someone who'll be like, no. Actually, protected under this, leave them be. Let them do their thing. And I put out great work. I'm very sociable, as some people might gather. I like social interactions. I like to talk to people. It's a very fun thing for me. And that's the other half of my job, is to help people, relax in stressful situations. Someone will bring me a computer and they're like, my whole life is being ruined right now. Someone hacked my computer. I don't know what's going on. I'm scared. And to help them through that process, to calm them down, to then fix their computer and explain to them that everything's okay and why it's okay and how it's okay and what to do in the future. It's very fun for me. And I latch on to those conversations. So I'm a big yapper. It's something that I'm very passionate about, is talking to people. So it kind of helps me in that part of the job. Whereas when it comes to, working in retail environments, etc., it can be very difficult to talk to people because people will dump a lot of things on you. Fortunately, I can kind of just divert most of that, and the emotions are a little different being neurodivergent. So a lot of the people dumping things, it doesn't bother me as much as it does other people. So it kind of worked out to my benefit in that regard. But yeah, that's roughly how it impacts my professional life.
Yeah, something you brought up that is definitely something that has been brought up in every other neurodivergence talk as well, is related to that wall to prepare for something. It's the executive dysfunction that comes with so many neurodivergencies. That inability or that difficulty to get tasks done in a prompt and neat order. For me, it's a thing of okay, I have in my mind, I've got this task to do. I'm going to get it done. 2 weeks later, why haven't I gotten it done yet? I know, I keep telling myself it's going to happen. Why am I still staring at this? or like in work, getting into the middle of like doing some coding as a programmer myself, and being like, okay, I'm understanding the code now. I've worked my way through this one problem I've been having. Oh, there's a meeting now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe those moments where it's like, oh, I have this big paper to do. I need to do it. And you just can't manage to get started. And then there's 2 hours left before it's due. And you're like, I'm gonna write a 7-page paper. And you just do it.
You just do it.
Because that pressure was enough of a challenge to just kickstart the brain. And you're like, okay.
Oh, so
do it.
many
I got it.
last minute 1,000-page essays. Not 1,000 page, 1,000-word page essays.
1,000
It's
page. Oh
just
my
something-
god.
1,000 words.
about that last-minute
1,000
pressure.
words. Oh,
I'm just giving you shit.
no, that's
I think for me, I
common
do
thing.
that.
Yeah.
I do that very well because I get very caught up in the idea at the end of like, but if I pull it off though, but if I manage, and that challenge is enough for my brain to be like, okay, cool, we can do it.
Big challenges.
Yeah, that's,
Challenges, the way to game your brain until something goes wrong and then you freak out. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, the thing
Alright.
about you mentioned time blindness, but also for me, if something is out of sight, like if I read an email, it's important, it's something I need to do right away. If I don't address it right away, it doesn't exist anymore. And I forget about it. It's out of sight, out of mind. Because ADHD's like, well, it's gone now. Goodbye.
That is also something I often forget about because I just forget. Yeah, no, like
Oops.
things that in the moment your brain's like, yeah, that's not relevant, and it just deletes it. Like, wait a minute, I might have needed that.
I've had a lot of
Yeah.
angry faculty members who are like, I asked for a quote like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh shit, I'm sorry.
Oh my bad.
while we're here, we might as well start getting into the part that's probably going to take at least an hour of our time because of how much it feels like we all just love talking about this side of thing. The habits of it all. Here's one I haven't brought up before, or that I haven't heard really talked about before, too. That's more of a autism one, as far as I'm aware, is the difficulty. One of the difficult parts of trying to connect with others in conversation is a tendency to use anecdotes. Because for an autistic person, anecdotes are the way to show connection. It's to show that you understand and are trying to be a supportive force to that person. But I've definitely had my experience of people thinking I was just being self-centered and trying to make the conversation about myself when I was trying to help them and show that I'm trying to support that person. So there's that whole thing of like, oh, I'm being yelled at for trying to do something nice. Oh no, this is a lot of mental damage now.
Nate, I was gonna say that
Emotional
too.
damage. Yeah.
That was definitely something I was gonna bring up because
Yeah.
it's really rough when the thing that you use to show that you can relate to someone and that you care is the way that a lot of other neurotypical people will interpret it as a selfish insert of here's why my problem matters. I'm not trying to dump my thing as it's more than yours, or I feel the need to say mine is relevant. It's more so I understand what you're talking about, and here's how I can relate to it.
Mm-hmm. Like, I am relating to you. This is how I'm doing it. I'm putting myself in your shoes. So,
Hey, this is me showing I
yeah.
care.
and I feel like that's another thing too, is like the empathy that goes along with that, and how people think people on the spectrum don't have empathy, whereas like a lot of us have hyper empathy. And
Oh, yeah.
relating to people in that way is just like another facet of it.
Yeah. Heck, in fact, like some of the earliest studies on autism categorized it as a sociopathy because that's what it seemed like at the time.
It's
But yeah, better understandings nowadays.
Yep.
the over empathetic feeling sometimes is just like I feel too much. Help, help, make it stop. Make it stop. I want to say one habit that I don't know if it's been talked about yet, but one that is very personal to me, and I like to bring up when I can. Drugs. For people unaware, drugs are very addictive at times, especially so if you have other conditions that might play into drugs. One that I wish was talked about more, and I feel like at times is kind of pushed under the rug because of the other benefits that it can have, is marijuana. One that I personally partake in because I just find it fun. Marijuana is highly addictive to people who are neurodivergent, ADHD, and just autism spectrum disorder in general, because it can do a lot of similar things to what medications can do. It is not a replacement for them, of course, but it has a similar effect in just a very small order. So it can feel a lot better for someone who's neurodivergent, as it kind of gives a similar feeling of like things feel a little more normal at times, and the brain kind of latches on to that instant burst of, happy chemical to the brain, which is something that drives neurodivergent brains quite heavily. Instant gratification or instant, benefit from something is a lot more attractive, because delayed things don't work very well for us. Doing something for it to pay off a week later isn't gonna really work for a neurodivergent brain, even if the person understands it. It's gonna latch onto those more instant things a lot more, and marijuana will provide that. So if you are neurodivergent and you choose to partake in substances, please be aware of the impacts that it can have, and be careful with how easy it is to get addicted to them. It can very quickly traverse into, daily or multiple times a day usage. Just try to be aware of what's going on. Make sure you're open and honest with your doctors and other medical professionals, and take care of yourself first and foremost. Life is stressful. Life is hard. Have fun. Be safe.
Yeah, I mean, there's also just another thing attached to that's not fully sure how much this is a thing for ADHD or other neurodivergencies, but in autism, a common thing is that medications just don't work the intended way sometimes. Like for me, I was originally I was given a misdiagnosis of ADHD as a very young child. The Ritalin made me hyper anxious, which is not what it's supposed to do. Whenever I've had surgeries, there was the issue that the anesthetics and other painkillers that were given to me didn't always fully work. It's not to the extent of my older brother, who woke up in the middle of a surgery once.
Oh, jeez.
He was still out of it enough to just think of it as a lucid dream. But yeah, for me it's still
that is a fear
yeah.
of mine.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't gotten certain surgeries that I want, because I'm like, I haven't tried this anesthetic and I don't know if it would keep me under, and I'm very scared of it not. Or like those cases where it's like you're kind of asleep, nobody knows it, but you're actually aware. No thank you.
Yeah,
I know. Oh, sorry.
No, I was done.
For my mom, specifically, whenever she takes a downer, it feels like she has the opposite reaction. It makes her super anxious. It makes her like bounce off the walls, basically. It's very interesting how our brain chemistry is just like, nah, we ain't gonna do that.
I know plenty of ADHD people that drink coffee or have caffeine to put them to sleep, because it actually makes them tired.
I do that all the time, yeah. I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna have too much caffeine and too much dopamine in the system. Go to sleep, punk shoe.
I will most commonly have an energy drink towards the end of my shift, and I've definitely had coworkers be like, it's like 5 p.m. Why are you doing that? You're not gonna sleep tonight. And I'm like, you have no idea.
I'm asleep like a baby.
I'm going Betty bye.
Yeah, it's just strange how the different structuring of the brain makes the chemicals go in different pathways sometimes.
Yeah, it's very strange. Sometimes cool, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say that there's zero benefit whatsoever, but yeah, no, it's odd.
Yeah. Oh.
But I'm sorry. On the topic of habits, because I feel like I diverted quite heavily on.
I
Actually,
mean, we're still on habits, so it's okay.
I just didn't want to pull away from it fully, but I think a big habit for me that's come and gone has been like video games, which kind of ties back to that instant gratification. Playing a video game, you are immersed into something and you get instant things happening for you, like say a shooter. You get to see the direct impact of what you've done 10 seconds after it's happened. Like there's a scoreboard saying every single time something's happened, and it's very make brain happy with number go up. I think a fair amount of us have had instances where it's either D&D, an MMO, or any kind of game where it's just I get to see this silly reward system happen. I don't know why this number matters to me, but a cool number go up. And I have definitely been addicted to games in the past. Got hooked on them for quite a few years when I was younger. Then very quickly was like, oh, I have other things I need to focus on. And I pulled away very harshly to not play video games for like 2 or 3 years straight. I think one way that my brain operates with the way that it is that I have to do things in, I guess you can call it a cold turkey way. If I'm going to do something, it's all or nothing. There's no in between, because I can't play that game. It's I go for something, or I don't do it at all, or I cut something out entirely, or I keep going with it. And it's definitely impacted the things that I do with my free time in that regard. I would say that video games and drugs are probably the most obvious examples for it.
Oh yeah.
But there are some habits that I have.
All right. There is something I'd like to also go over that Ninja kind of brought up in chat. Talk about her sister feeling pain differently, like having a nearly exploding appendix, and didn't get that caught early because she was like, oh yeah, it really hurts, but not really giving the expected reactions. For me as a kid, I had hypersensitive, I was hypersensitive to a lot of stimulus at the time. As pain was one of them, I would cry a lot from even small injuries, because for me, it always felt like the greatest, the most terrible hit was done against me. Like things that would just be seen as minor scrapes. You see on normal kids who just bruise themselves on the streets a lot. That would make me like fall my eyes out. And unfortunately, this got people to assume I'm always just overreacting to pain. To the point that one time during recess, I tripped, and another kid tripped and fell onto my hand, and I was in pain for like the most amount of pain I've ever been in. I was crying, screaming my lungs out at what was going on, and the monitor, teacher, and people in like the principal's office all thought I was exaggerating and that there was nothing wrong. When I got home, my parents were seeing me in pain, be like, oh, you're just exaggerating. There's nothing wrong. You'll be fine soon. And then because I kept talking about being in pain after dinner, they're like, fine, we'll take you to the hospital, get this checked out. Turned out I broke my wrist. And my parents realized to never underestimate when I feel pain. But then, oddly enough, years later in middle school, I don't know what happened for this change. Now I would deal with pain. But there was a time where I was running around, banged my knee against, I forget what it was that I banged my knee against. Started running some more, up until I started stumbling and fell down. When I got taken to the hospital to get checked out, turned out I had I sprained my muscles pretty terribly. And I was like, huh, weird, I don't feel anything. Like, my younger brother has a extremely high pain tolerance, and we don't really understand where that came from either.
On that topic, very like different from your experience. Like I can get very emotional about certain things, and so it definitely led to a lot of confusion when I was growing up into whether or not I was hurt with stuff, because like getting overstimulated, I can have a moment, panic attack sort of thing as well. But then when it comes to actual physical pain, I don't really feel it most of the time. Like I have a very high pain tolerance, and it's especially if I am not focused on the thing that's happening. If I focus on, like, say, I guess a great example is like I have injections that I have to do. If I'm not really paying attention to it and it happens, I don't even notice that needle has been used.
Yeah,
But
same.
if I'm looking, I feel every bit of it, and it's not a fun experience.
Yeah.
It's not super painful, but I'm like, I feel that little poke, and I'm like, I'm worried I'm gonna hurt something. But like when I was younger, I believe it was middle of high school that we went to a county fair, and the fairgrounds had really old wooden posts that were kind of broken and jagged edges and sharp spots, etc. And it was getting late into the night, super dark out, fair was getting ready to close, and we were told that's time to go. So we all decided to have a little race back to the car, and we're jumping over these wooden posts, and I don't even notice it. Like I feel like I kind of scraped across one, and I'm like, it's whatever. We get back to the car, and we're all just kind of sitting in, this is Midwestern shit, we're all just sitting in the trunk, like, you shouldn't be doing this. But I'm like, why is my leg wet? Weird. But it's dark, so like I don't know what's going on. I'm like, it's probably nothing. It's probably like, water condensation, something of that sort. We get home, I go inside, and I go sit down on my bed. I'm like, my leg's wet. And I look down, it's a mess. I split half of it open, roughly from the kneecap down to the heel. It wasn't super bad, fortunately. Like, it wasn't horrendous stitches situation, but it was bad enough to scar, and it was just a liquid mess. Yeah, I didn't feel it because I didn't see it happen, so my brain just didn't care to process it, I guess. But there's other things that I witness them happen, and I definitely feel them, not as much as other people, but it's weird. It's weird. Yeah. It takes pain.
Yeah, pain is interesting for me because one of my stims is skin picking. I'm trying to work on it, but I don't feel it. I'll be bleeding and I'll be like, whatever, it's fine. But your story reminded me of something. I think I told this story in your chat, actually. Gwen.
We do love yapping.
We do love yapping. But when I was like 4 or 5 years old, I ended up stabbing my leg with some cuticle scissors, and I didn't know it until I looked down and there was blood. I didn't feel it go in. It went in like butter, but I didn't know what happened. Until I saw the blood, and then I started screaming bloody murder. Yeah, I had to get 2 stitches. But yeah, that's one thing about realizing my neurodivergence as an adult, is like looking back at things like that and being like, oh, yeah, that's not how things usually go, huh? Okay.
Hey, sorry, real quick. Thank you very much, Stone, for the $100 donation to get us over $600 raised for ASN. Thank you so much.
Let's go.
Hell yeah, dude.
One of our
Stone, you're the goat.
Yeah, one of the people that was here for the first Neurodivergence talk. Oh boy.
Stone, you're the best.
Heck yeah, now I'm gonna have
Let's go,
to
chat. We
get a
got
big
$400
war.
more. Let's go.
Yeah, now to find some $150 to $200 Warhammer figure to let people choose the paints to do for.
Yay!
Oh, is that the goal?
Yeah, that's the Chat Paints Warhammer one.
Let's go, Warhammer.
Hell yeah.
Warhammer 401k. We're gonna take all your money.
Yeah, you're right.
Hey, good luck on the essays, though, and
Take
hell
out
yeah
mortgage for
to
this game.
knocking it out of the park for your game engine program that you had to do. But yeah, you know, let me also hear about everyone's stims that they do or used to. Like for me, the one I keep up is clicking my fingers together. I especially like to click middle of the thumb or make a pattern out of going between my thumb and my index fingers. I still tap my feet a lot, bounce my leg. There's probably a lot of other ones I don't remember doing as a kid. Biting the shirt for also a Pika thing, so I could, because I like the taste of the denim or like whatever material was being used.
So I've definitely had like the stims that I have changed over the years, like different decades of my life, is probably the best way to put it. When I was really young, it was I would count either in my head or out loud by multiples of 2. It was like one of the more noticeable ones because I'm just sitting there counting. And if I ever did most actions, honestly, it had to be done in groups of 2. So like if I turn up the volume on a TV, I didn't really care about even numbers, but I just had to press the button twice. It didn't matter what number it ended up on as long as I did it twice.
Oh yeah.
I had the one that I mentioned earlier in which I would always look to the furthest reach of my vision constantly. Which, by the way, does not feel good, but don't do that.
Oh no, yeah, it's bad for your eyes.
Yeah, no, it's really bad. I'm very fortunate that not much came out of that negatively. And you know, as I got older, some of those like evolved, as I might put it, into different versions. Like multiples of 2 became multiples of 4 at one point. I know pretty much all of the exponents of 2 going up to like 24 for some reason. We're gonna let that die there though. As I've gotten older, like I mentioned in high school, it became more like breathing related things, like out the nose. I still do one in which it's kind of like sort of a weird breath in like the back of my throat. I don't really know how to describe it. Like it's a faint noise, and I still feel the need to do that. It often messes with a lot of conversations. Like I'll be streaming and I'll be talking about something, and then I'll just stop middle of a word because I feel the need to do the noise. And it's very prevalent when I'm playing like a stressful game, rhythm games in particular. Fuckers, I love them, but god damn it. The other big one is blinking. I will blink very aggressively, and I think that's probably my most common one currently. It calms me down the most, but it gets in the way of a lot of things, of course. Rhythm games being a great example. It's very hard to play a game when you can't see the game. It kind of drives me crazy. And I think the other one is like more when it comes to social interactions. I will need something in my hands to fiddle with in some way. Like if it's a pencil, I'm kind of just tapping it, or if it's a pen, I'm clicking the button. Right now, I actually have because I'm using earbuds, I have my second earbud in my hand, and I'm just kind of pulling at the rubber to make it go inverted, and then sending it back the other way.
Oh yeah.
I gotta do that too.
I can't stop doing it.
Oh, tapping a pencil,
Anyways.
or how about the other thing of taking the pencil, especially mechanical pencil, and either jabbing your arm repeatedly or jabbing your leg repeatedly with it?
Oh, I would do that, but I would always have like I'd press the button for it to retract, and I just keep jabbing my hand. Just
Yeah.
Just the boop.
just boop, and
Boop back in.
the lead disappears.
And one I talked about with Maple Pixels this morning too is also back in school getting some glue, putting it onto your palm, letting it dry, and then peeling it off.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Well, I guess I also have a faint noise because I just did it. I'm like, oh yeah, I do that too. I just don't recognize it anymore.
How about you, Gage? How about you for your stims?
For my stims, I stick my tongue out like just at random. I like to like feel my lips and just or like I rub my my like collarbone area. It's just one of those things like I just start stroking it and I can tell people look at me funny and I'm like, I don't care. I gotta touch. It's time to touch. Another thing, like Gwen was saying with having something in your hand, doing something with your hands. Like even right now, I'm crocheting. I need to have something to keep my hands busy. And also dancing. I'll just get up and dance around. But yeah, and I feel like that's kind of a family thing too. It goes along with our echolalia.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. We'll just get up and we'll just like have little dance parties and just make silly sounds together.
Yeah. Oh no. One of the things I've been doing the last few months is one of the, like in the bathroom, like first thing in the morning when my throat feels like it's the tightest or anything, I'll just go ahead and just start just kind of like do a hum to try to get as deep as I can because I love the sensation of the rumble in my chest as it bounces around in this contained space.
Yeah.
You gotta sing the Misty Mountain song.
Oh, from Lord of the Rings.
The Hobbit one specifically.
Oh, and okay, are you guys one of those people who have the thunder sound in your ears? Like you can make a thunder sound?
I've not known about that.
If I can, I don't know this word for it.
You like it's like you almost like clench your jaw, like kind of flex your jaw and it makes a sound in your ears. That's something I do all the time. Oh my gosh, the thunder ears, yes, ninja.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I don't think I know what you're referring to.
Yeah.
I know that like kind of like lowering my jaw and clicking it back up, like almost locking it and then unlocking it.
It's I know it's only like there's a small-ish percentage of people who experience it. It's like it's something my brother and I like when we realized we both could do it. We're like, do you ever just like do that when you don't want to listen to people?
Mood.
Oh goodness.
I don't think I know what it is, unfortunately. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, let me see if I can find an article.
Locking and unlocking jaw, holding
Yeah.
your head to one side to get a thundering sound in your ear. Huh.
I
Yeah.
like the lock and jaw one.
Yeah.
I also got reminded of one from Gage mentioning the dancing one. One that I had when I was younger was that I would always rotate like a certain it feels like it was almost random now looking back, but as a kid I was like, yeah, I have to rotate exactly this amount in certain situations. Like I'd be talking to someone and I'd be a little stressed out and I would just spin around once, and then I would feel the need before the conversation was over to do the exact same amount of spins I did in the opposite direction.
Oh yeah. This is also into like the ritual side of things. The things you feel compelled to do that for like I don't know if it's necessarily fully stemming. Like for me, I see dust on some furniture, I take one single wipe and then I'm done. I don't know why. I'm not there for the sensation of the dust. It's just like, some order. or see something on a table edge that is slightly askew, slightly angled, straighten up. And that's all for me. And if I'm walking on tiles or something, if one step goes onto the crack between two tiles, I need to do my next step onto a spot between two tiles as well.
Yo, I relate to the tile one.
Yep.
I do that. But yeah, I almost forgot about rituals entirely. I guess that does count as one.
Yeah.
I think a bigger one that I had that has finally is not one that I do anymore, and I have other things partaken ritual wise, but it was always related to steps that I would have to always skip one step and take the second one. And so any place that I went like super often, such as in my house, it's unfortunately an odd number of steps. I would calculate exactly where I would have to step in order to make it work out number wise, because there's a big lane in step, and I would spend so much time in my head trying to justify that it wasn't a step to make the math work, and ultimately would skip 2 on the first one and try to make that happen. But it's just unnecessary in the moment, and when it happens, it's like I feel the need to do this, I feel the urge to do this, but also, is it inconvenient? Yes.
Yeah, no, I get the step 1 too. That was definitely something with me as well, is being like, okay, I need to walk on these certain steps or my brain isn't happy. It's not the same as OCD. I know those are very different than how they're approached. This is just my brain with its ritual that's going on for like no other reason than it feels like a fun game. But if I don't pass this game, then I'm a failure.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you don't really get much out of it when you do it, but if you don't do it, you definitely notice that you didn't do it.
Yeah.
Because your brain will let you know. But I had a lot of people that would ask me in like high school, like, "Oh, do you have OCD?" I'm like, "Not to my knowledge. It's just rituals."
Yeah.
That's all it is.
I'm trying to think of any ritual. I'm not sure that consciously thinking about it, I can't recall any, but I'm certain there are things.
Don't have to have any, of course.
Yeah, no, I'm just like,
Yeah, it's not unnecessary.
recall is bad. Recall bad.
Oh my god. Another thing I do is, and anyone that watches my streams might be familiar with this, I will move my mouse in patterns on my screen when I'm at my computer. So like most common one is a figure 8 or infinity sign, depending on the orientation, and circles. But then I feel the urge to click at times, and I will click very much things I do not want to click on my screen half the time, and I will panic. Like just now, I almost unfollowed on accident.
Oh my god. Oh, yep, I do that too. I do that. Okay, there we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Thanks, brain.
I'm doing it right now. It's hard not to do it, to be honest.
All right. Hey, I'm pretty sure I already know the answer to this. How's everyone's posture here? Because mine's shit.
How was what?
Posture.
Posture? I'm hunched.
So the thing is, so in high school, I was in marching band, so my posture was too good for the longest time, and people would comment on it, and now it is shit. Give me a desk job, and it is shit.
Yeah, I relate on the band one.
Did you ever get comments where people were like, you walk so straight. Why your back is so straight?
I mean, there was definitely a thing like being in choir when we get onto the pews and like have to make a return. I was joked that I looked like I was in a military march because of just how straight and sudden of a turn I would make. But for me, it's like, I mean, I need to make this turn. I'm just trying to be efficient about it. I don't want to make a big curve.
Big curve. I love that. I will say, in regards to similarities, well, something similar to posture, sitting position.
Yeah, that's a big one too. Yeah.
If I am not in like a professional setting or something, I have to sit crisscrossed in whatever seat it is. I don't care how uncomfortable it might be or how hard it might be to sit that way. I will make it happen. My chair isn't exactly wide enough for it, but I will scrunch my leg in there if I can sit crisscross in my seat.
Yeah.
I do not like my legs to dangle.
Oh
or
yeah.
touch the ground.
I'm always sitting with 1 foot underneath me, which makes it so I'm always having to deal with one of my legs falling asleep.
Constant pins and needles.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hate it.
Me too.
And I don't stand up enough to solve the problem either.
Yeah, this is something I just a couple days realized is actually a common autism and ADHD thing.
It's very, and I'm just glad I'm not alone.
Oh, how about you,
In my
Gage? Are
family, I
you?
was definitely
Yeah.
pointing out. Oh, my bad.
I don't know, Gage. Are you also someone who can't sit like a? I can't just sit with your both legs down at the proper angle, back straight against the chairs.
I can't do it, man. I can't do it. I have to have like a footrest. Like right now I have a footrest, or I have to have my ankles crossed. I need to sit crisscross applesauce, or usually I will sit on the couch with one leg tucked like into the other. Like I'll have my left foot like against the inside of my right thigh and just kind of stick the other leg out real far.
Oh yeah. Hey, it doesn't.
So comfy.
Yeah, it doesn't show my camera because it's just waist up. My legs when I'm standing are either crossed, or I have 1 foot up like I'm a crane. Which was something I got made fun of in high school because it's just something I would do without ever thinking.
I feel like I stand awkwardly.
I don't know how do people stand? How does a normal person stand? Like I don't get
know.
it. I don't understand it.
I've been
Hey.
told that I stand weird, I walk weird, I run
Yeah.
weird. Like,
I
okay.
had to make a whole lesson to myself to walk where each step is start with the back of the heel, then slowly push that forward. But I still, without thinking, will just start walking on my tiptoes.
For me, it was like my feet going pigeon-toed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, when I stand, I almost always lock my knees, which is like the exact opposite of what you want to do. But I can't. I have to stand at attention. Sorry.
I just stand awkwardly.
Yeah. I also then realized how much I stomp until one day in high school there was, for a fun thing, it was pajamas and slippers day. And in slippers, I was finally able to feel just how heavy of an impact each of my steps were making. It's like, oh, I never realized that before.
I would get in. I completely forgot this until you mentioned that, Nate. I would get in so much trouble with my parents for apparently stomping around the house. They would constantly be like, "What are you mad about?" Nothing. I'm just going to get a glass of water. Why are you stomping? I'm not.
Oh.
At least I don't think I am.
Hey, going into this other thing of not understanding the strength that you're putting in, volume control issues. Have you all had that before too?
I am way too loud.
Yeah. I was definitely, when I was young, I was pretty much shouting all the time, but I didn't realize that I was being so loud. And eventually it came to a point where I was whispering too much. And now I still don't always have the right control of volume that I'm looking for still.
I think what you just said describes my experience perfectly.
Yeah, same.
I relate to that way too much.
And that's why anymore I'm very quiet, because that I was such a loud, boisterous kid and told to shut up too many times, you know?
I am always like very much paying attention and hyper aware of what people are saying in regards to like volume and things, whether it's at work or personal interactions or especially streaming, you know, trying to make sure I'm not screaming into my mic.
Mm-hmm.
Scream at me.
I'm
Do
always
it.
looking to see like, is someone saying anything about it? Is anyone talking about like mic issues? Is anyone saying someone's too loud or who's doing that noise? Like, is that me? Oh, I have no clue if I'm being the right volume ever.
No.
You're doing great.
You're good, but it's, boy. Yeah. That is a real thing to always be stressing about. That's just also going into the larger thing of the worry of how you're presenting yourself because of that constant, either it's the mask or it's just in general worried about your presentation to others if you're doing what is right for them.
We want to talk about masking now? Not to
We can talk
derail the
masking
entire
now.
list that I'm staring at.
I know masking is always a big thing to talk about. We might as well, we're already here.
Did you say that you went to?
We've arrived.
Yeah.
We've arrived at the station, the masking
Hey, this is
station.
my stop. I'm getting off the bus. Hold on. Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'll just go briefly since I've had the one from earlier today. I went more in depth on this, but just for you all here as well. My mask I'm not aware of anymore. I have been at it too long to know the difference, and I don't even know when it started because it was a gradual customization of it before I realized it was even a thing. Heck, I don't know how many people even realize when it starts, and I didn't even know about the term for it until like 6 or 7 years ago. But yeah, it's definitely a thing of noticeable parts being like in conversations, no longer wanting to talk about your special interests, no longer trying to get back to a topic because everyone moved on from it, but you didn't get to have your say in it. But now being like, okay, I'll just move on. And it's causing me pain in my head to not want to talk, and I'm no longer feeling like I'm part of this conversation, but I'll be here. Just getting quieter and quieter, trying to stuff my hands into my pockets so people don't see when I'm fidgeting with my fingers. Trying to just not react to the stimuli that are causing me pain because no one else is reacting to it. It's a lot of things like that. It was also a thing of like just learning how to morph yourself to match the people around you, which was a weird thing. Just a constant trying to watch out for what the other person does, but also have a checklist in your mind to go down for each interaction for what seems normal based off of everything that's going on. Feeling like an alien trying to pretend to be human in the regard.
Relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know for... Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was just gonna say that when I talk about this, it can be somewhat of a heavy one. So if anyone else, if Gage, you want to go first, you're more than welcome to do so.
Yeah, mine will be a little heavy. It's a heavy topic. I mean,
Yeah.
I know for me, I've unmasked so much more since I've learned more about it. Learned about my own neurodivergence, and also just become more comfortable with people I do surround myself with. But I know that there's a theory in sociology, the looking glass self, and people try and argue it's what everyone does. Like everyone is concerned about how they present themselves, but not to the point where I'm like, am I speaking at the right level? Does this person actually like me? Does like, is anything I'm saying making sense? Is my face, look like doing what it's supposed to do?
Yeah.
Even sometimes when I'm streaming, like I'll have my face cam on. I'll be like, oh, I'm not smiling. I should probably smile. I should probably do that.
God. Yeah.
That's what people do, right? But I know for when I'm with my family, when I'm with my partner, I don't have to do any of that, which is really refreshing. Except for those moments when you're like, Nate was saying about like the topic moves on, or you're trying to jump in and you're talked over, and you're like, well, okay, I'll guess I'll just be over here. But yeah, there's definitely I feel like a disconnect with how people understand masking for neurodivergent people in general. Of like, well, of course you care about how you present yourself just to other people, but not to this extent. Yeah, I don't know. How about you, Gwen?
So, just to preface, I might randomly pause to breathe for a minute during this one, just because certain topics, like my brain will be like, "What are you saying? And why are you saying that? Why are you telling people?"
You're good.
So, like, I might take a moment here and there.
Yeah.
A big thing when it comes to masking for me is that I can definitely relate to what you said, Nate, about not really fully knowing where the mask begins and ends. For me, I've thought about it a lot, especially over the last few years, and coming to just accept myself for who I am and live my life the way that I wish to. I have pondered it a lot, and there's only 2 people who I've ever met that have truly seen me not mask. I am always masking to some extent. The brain says, do it, or things go wrong. Do it, or people no like you. I don't feel emotions the way that a lot of people feel them. Especially, I don't really relate to neurotypical people much in that regard. I know that one big thing, and it's a hard topic of conversation, because when I discuss what I'm about to say, a lot of people can interpret it as that I don't care, and that's why, or that it applies to certain people and just not them. I don't know what it's like to miss somebody. I don't have that wiring. Like, I've lost people in my life. Just the casual, like, oh, you don't see people anymore, but then also, like, people have died who meant a lot to me, and I don't miss anyone. I never have. I understand the concept of it'd be nice to see someone again. Like, I get that it'd be nice to hang out again, right? Like, that makes sense logically. Sure, it'd be nice to see them again. It'd be really cool. It'd be fun. I don't feel this sense of longing or missing, or it's really hard without, like, it doesn't make sense to me. And so it's not something that I really tell people. Months can pass since I've spoken to someone that I care about, and I don't even notice. It's not because I don't care about the person, it's because my brain it doesn't register that. And unfortunately, to everyone else, that comes off as that I don't give a fuck. But I very much do. I just don't interpret that feeling. It doesn't make sense to me. So even on, like, those super personable things, I have to mask to some degree, and I have said that I miss people countless times because I logically understand that I would like to hang out with this person again, and I want them to know that I do care, but I don't get the feeling of missing. You know, like a lot of people say they miss someone, and it's just kind of the casual thing. For me, it's always a casual thing because there's no personability to it, unfortunately. There's a lot of things that I do that are weird or off-putting in my own mind, and whether or not they are to others, I don't know. It feels like 99% of the time I'm pretending. There's still very much a real part of me that isn't in all of my interactions, and over the last few years I've definitely decided to never let that change again. As a kid, I would suppress most things that I'd want to do. Like, I'm sure a lot of ADHD people and people who are just neurodivergent in general can relate to feeling like they might talk too much or that they might be annoying. And I still mask to some degree in that, depending on the interaction, but I have come to terms with not always covering that up anymore, which is hence the name. I like to talk. It's fun. I like interactions with people, and I won't lock that away just to feel like I belong somewhere. I'd rather just actually belong somewhere. The only time that I'm not masking really is just when I'm with my sister at this point. The only person who's seen it lives on the other side of the planet now. But it's very much a stark contrast because I feel like I can just express my emotion and feel the way I feel, and she understands. She never judges me, which is something I very much need because anytime that I've let a mask slip, it has created just very awkward interactions and very unfun situations, and I've lost a lot of friends because of the way that they interpret the way that I operate. You know, when I'm talking to people online, when I'm interacting in public, it's still me. It's just a masked version of myself. It's a modified version that I feel is more comfortable in public, kind of protecting those insecurities and those little bits that I feel like people wouldn't accept or would find weird, and I just kind of keep that for myself at this point because it just feels a lot safer. And I think the one thing that has always been a genuine fear for me, because I don't really feel fear much, it's very particular things, and abandonment is one thing that gets me. So I mask more so to avoid that than anything at this point. And that's about it.
Oh, sorry. So Gwen, when you say you don't miss someone, do you ever do you miss your interactions with them more than the actual person? Because I feel like that's kind of where my brain goes.
I don't even miss that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess the best way I can put it for people, I live moment to moment, not really longing for much of anything. It's I just kind of live and experience and enjoy the moment. I'm not wishing for old times to really return or for much else in that regard. I just live the moment.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And not experiencing relationship decay, like Ninja put it, is another way to put it. It's something I also will feel as well. Is I can go months without talking to someone and be just as ready to pick things up as they were the last interaction. It's a weird thing of like, I know it's a weird thing for some other people, but it's like, oh yeah. But, I mean, I still know this person. They're still friends. I haven't talked to them a bit, but yeah, I'm ready to go ahead and just have a conversation whenever they want.
Yeah,
it's just
decay is. I'm sorry.
No, I honestly don't even know where my train of thought was going to be going as I was saying, so you can go ahead.
You're good. It's definitely something that I don't experience as well. Kind of going hand in hand with not really understanding what it means to miss something. It's time can pass and I don't have it affect my relationships with people, and I know that there's a lot of neurodivergent people that can relate to that. Like someone will be like, oh, it's been months, and you're like, it has? Fuck, I mean, yeah, I'm so down to hang out. Let's hang out. Sounds like fun. But that time that passes in between, like, it doesn't impact the way that you might view that person or the relationship with them. In my mind, and again, this happens for a lot of people, it's like still same level of friendship that it was the last time we spoke. Nothing's changed. But not everyone handles it that way, and it just depends. But
yeah, another side of things is, let's call it the vampire autism, where you don't do an interaction unless you feel like you're invited. Like, I don't go out of my way to be the first one to message people or be like, hey, do you want to hang out? Do you want to do games together? Because I'm in the mind that someone's going to hate me if I do that. I can't be the one to do the reaching out. I need someone to show interest in me and reach out to me and invite me in. Otherwise, I'm going to be too busy not doing it out of that weird thing in my mind saying I need the clear understanding that it's okay.
Yep.
I've definitely, I've heard a lot about that from other neurodivergent friends, so I know that you are not alone in that one. It can be quite an experience. I am somewhat the opposite in that I am, and I've said it a lot, in that I am very direct and straightforward, which also goes hand in hand with I don't get hints, that area. But in line with it, I will often reach out to people just because it sounds like fun. I don't like to create awkward interactions. Like if I don't know someone super well and I'm like, like this doesn't feel like a thing to reach out for, I won't, because I'm like, yeah, I don't know if this is something to do as a first interaction. But like for example, playing games with friends, if I have recently, met someone, I'm like, it'd be really cool to play a game with them, I'll just send them a message. It could be the first message, and I'll be like, hey, just want to play a game sometime? It seems, like a fun idea. You seem really cool, etc. And that's kind of been my experience throughout my whole life. Like when I was in high school, I would just talk to random fucking people. I would have to sit at, there's a McDonald's near the school that I went to, and my mom would never show up to pick me up on time, so it would be like hours after school before I go home. And I would just talk to random people in McDonald's and make friends with people I had never met before. I am very sociable in that regard. So it's a bit of a different experience for me.
Yeah, I similar to Nate, where I'm like, I've been previously I would reach out first, but I feel like I've been burned too many times as well, and now I'm just too anxious about it, where I can't. It's like this person hates me immediately.
Oh boy. I know this. Yeah, so go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, I love reaching out, and I love when people reach out to me. So I am always open to communication in that regard.
Hey, and thank you both for.
To say.
And thank you both for being willing to come on this talk over here. But yeah, there's
This has been.
Yeah. There's another thing that's not really been talked about before, or the other talks as well, that I feel like is also touching on what's being discussed here, is going into difficulties with social cues and understanding the rules and the nuance there is with everything. Like I can tell one of the things that's a struggle for me and helping to build relationships with people, to build friendships and all these things, is when things get complex, I don't know what to do. And I don't always understand why people want to hide some things or want to go ahead and interact in certain ways, what the steps are with all this stuff. It's so weird and confusing to me. Where in my mind, I'm just like, isn't there just a straightforward path that could be being done over here? Why is everyone making a roundabout about everything and making it tougher on themselves? Am I the weird one for just wanting everything to be straightforward?
No, I relate, Nate. Oh my god. I hate the beating around the bush. I hate dropping hints on things.
Yeah.
Just please, for the love of everything, tell me what the fuck you want to say. And I know that's hard for some people, and I guess neurotypical see it as like, oh, you don't do that. I don't get it if you don't do that. Like, I think one of the more lighthearted ones of it is like someone will like want to be friends, or like they'll reach out to me, and it'll just be like very subtle, like shy conversation. And it's like sometimes you can kind of get the sense, just because like it's happened before in the way that they talk about it, that they want to like really talk or hang out, but they're, you know, just dropping hints towards it instead. And I don't understand it, and I'm like, I don't know if that's what they're trying to do. I don't know if they're trying to say something else. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to assume. And so I don't often know how to respond to certain things, and I'm always worried that I am overthinking it, or that I'm imagining the way they're trying to say it. Honestly, just being very straightforward with me is the easiest way to go about it. I am very quick to just give an honest and genuine answer to things. The more direct you are, the better the conversation will flow.
So I know for me, this is gonna sound so dumb. For
You're good.
me, literary analysis has helped me with understanding what the fuck people are saying.
No, that tracks. That makes sense.
Like it's like reading between the lines. Okay, now I know step by step how to read between them. Okay, I am armed and I am dangerous because I know what you're saying now. Oh no. But for me, I definitely have that where like I'm trying to understand why people do the things the way they do, because they don't make fucking sense to me. And I'm just like, okay, well, yeah, literary analysis has given me the tools and pattern recognition as well. Like, if X person says Y, I know I need to say Z. You don't care about anything else in this interaction. You just want me to say Z. So I know these things now because I had to study people. It feels very silly, but it's worked for me.
I can say on a similar but slightly different note, went away from literary skills instead. Psychology is more, I guess, the realm that you can put it into for me. First of all, a shout out to all the homies who know what this is. For those who have been traumatized as a kid, you can develop the ability to detect anger or malice or just negative feelings in general in conversation. And I very much pick up on those cues as a result of things that have happened. So whereas it would normally, you know, be a harder thing for me to detect, certain things I can because of life experience that impacted it and gave me the ability to understand. So negative things, it doesn't matter how small of a hint it is. If it is a verbal interaction, I will notice it and I will think about it, and it will matter to my brain. But the best way that I navigate social interactions, and I know that like people in the community might, you know, kind of notice this, especially after I talk about it. The first few times I interact with people, I won't be super talkative because I'm just trying to feel out the way that someone, you know, responds to things or interacts with things. I just look for the cues that that individual gives for stuff, because I don't recognize societal cues, but I do recognize how someone acts, and I will know if I'm being annoying or not based on, the cues that they're given in that regard. So I pay attention to the way that someone operates, and I go off of that rather than whatever's a social thing, because that shit doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. Also,
Yeah.
hey, hi, Grimace. Thank you for the raid as well. Thank you for stopping on by. For those who don't know, Garmazel Kong, currently doing a Neurodivergents talk with YapQueenGwen and GageTheGnome as part of raising money for Autistic Self-Advocacy Network. Thank you so much.
Raiders.
Howdy.
Oh boy.
Affiliate anniversary, man.
Yeah,
Let's go.
It was a weird happenstance. A couple years ago, first time doing raising money for ASAN to make for all of April. Then I realized until because I was out of stream for a couple of years, coming back, oh, I happen to have this as my affiliate's anniversary when I'm trying to do my game show extravaganza. Okay. Sorry. Oh boy, man. Just all these different habits, and when it comes to social cues, the struggles and understanding and stuff. Later today, I will be showing a poem by an autistic person on autism, describing it, trying to understand the rules, looking at a paper covered in invisible ink and expected to be able to read it. It's yeah, God, it feels like that so many times.
Yep.
Oh man. What are some other habits we'd like to talk about and discuss, if there are any that come to mind?
Anyone else got an idea? My brain is already why did you tell them these things?
All right, here's
I revealed too much.
Okay, here's
Why are you
one.
telling our secrets?
Yeah, here's one I kind of talked a little bit about with Maple earlier today. Is scripting out your plan for an interaction before it happens.
Yes. Standing in
say
the
no.
shower. Just
I try to, but I can't keep up with it. My brain gives up too fast. Oh wait. Do you mean when you're just sitting there imagining the way scenarios can go?
Yes. There's that.
Oh.
It's okay. If I have, there's also just when there's gonna be an interaction, be okay, I'm gonna have this to say at this. If this topic's brought up, there's this. Gotta get everything ready, but it never goes that way, so it's weird. But there's also just in general, just thinking about, what if this scenario popped up? How would I go through this? Okay, here's all my different steps I'm gonna plan out.
Okay, so that I relate a lot more to then, because it's when it comes to particular situations, I intentionally avoid doing it because I'm gonna overthink it or something's gonna go wrong. But I will often, and not so much anymore as I used to. I would just sit and think about general things that can happen and that typically do happen, and try to think about how to operate those scenarios. So I do relate in the general sense, just not to particular situations.
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I tend to do that with particular situations, and it does often just raise my anxiety. So maybe I should take a leaf out of your book, Gwen.
Yeah, I realized that because I kind of did it when I was younger, and as Nick kind of mentioned, it doesn't really go as planned, and I was I'm not seeing the benefit. I'm gonna try not to do it, and fortunately, I'm able to stop doing it because it anxiety is too much. I'm good.
You know what? I know this is something that's very central to everything for autism and ADHD, but I'm surprised we haven't really gone in depth on this on any other ones necessarily. Special interests. What were yours?
Define.
The things that you find extremely interesting and focus the fuck out of. For me, as a kid, I was my brother and I were dinosaur kids. We were also very into wildlife. and where we were reading into like college level books in elementary school to understand this stuff. If there was going to be a Jeff Corwin experience, if there's going to be a Crocodile Hunter on, if there's going to be any of those nature documentaries, we were watching it for sure, and we would even put it on repeat if it was recorded, because we were so interested in seeing all these different animals, past and present. Yeah.
For me, it's the ability, anything that I can like build.
Yeah.
In the last like decade, it's especially been electronic related. So like, you know, coding things, making software stuff, silly things that can be done with like building blocks of code. And as of late, just on a whim decided, yeah, you know, I already fixed computers. I'm gonna watch this video on like how some dude made a PCB board, and it did not take very long for me to suddenly start reading textbooks on electrical engineering and how to make motherboards. There's no reason for me to be doing this. I am just hyper focused on it, and it is a very, very particular interest I have had as of late. So I am just desperately trying to find any and all source material on how to build boards and electrical engineering in general.
My current special interest is the lore of Dune.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, wow,
I'm listening. There's a lot of material.
Listen, Al
I'm,
Gaib.
I'm listening to the second audiobook right now. Oh my god, that first book, it was so long. Like it had no right to be that long. Frank Herbert, you and your grave, you need to just like go back in time. Come out of your grave, go back in time. And knock like half of that book out. But anyway.
And they say the movies are long. Oh my
I know, right? Like,
Yeah.
sheesh.
Fucking
Like,
good
it's
movies.
20 now.
Both the new ones from Denis Villeneuve. Those are good.
Yeah,
I
the
like the
David
new
Lynch
movies.
one, yeah.
We can forget the David
it's
Lynch
fun
one.
and camp. It's fun and camp, but like it's not good. But for me that's my current special interest. But typically it's Sailor Moon. When I was a kid, it was Animorphs.
Oh my god, I haven't heard the name in a minute.
I know, right? Like, yeah.
You sent me back.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And rocks. I love rocks.
Oh, hell yeah.
And yeah.
I thought
Stuff
you were
like
talking about a
that.
book for a second, and then I realized you meant actual rocks, and I'm like, you know what? Same.
I love rocks. I have
I love
several on
rocks.
my desk right now.
Okay, so random tangent, a super fast one. One of my siblings, he has worked in the Grand Canyon as like a guide for people that are going on like, you know, multi-day journeys across it. And he wound up bringing back a rock that had like broken off a part of the wall at one point, and was like, here's your Christmas gift. I'm like, that's a crazy Christmas gift, but you know what? I like rocks. You got me.
Hell yeah, dude.
He had no idea I like rocks, but he was like, you know, it seems like you would like rocks, so I got you a rock. God damn it, you're right. And I hate that you're right.
Oh, goodness. I should bring up my present special interest too. D&D.
Also isekai.
Oh, yeah. There's D&D. There is NFL, but I prefer looking at things on the process of the NFL draft and how that all works, which is, I think, now finished. I don't know why, I just like the process of it. I don't care about, necessarily care about the prospects fully or anything else going on. I just like understanding the process of it all. It's a weird thing with me, but I don't know where I even got that. It's confusing. I enjoy it. But it's
So
for
valid.
this.
I relate.
Yeah, just getting myself now more and more as working out as a special interest. Go into like different videos, like, okay, so how am I supposed to do this this exercise the most efficient way? Okay. It's yeah.
In my dreams, okay.
If I get latched onto something as something I find interesting, it is all I'm going to be thinking about for weeks to months to years.
Same. You will suddenly know everything there is ever to know about it.
Yeah, my younger brother got into like sports and movie history, so he'll be able to tell you all the major award winners for all the major sports the last 50 years, all the Academy Award best films of the last, and its whole history. He knows all the upcoming movies. He knows like directors small time and big time. It's just his own thing. My dad, who isn't diagnosed, but more and more it's feeling like, oh, okay, well, my brother and I probably should know who we got autism from. He likes to collect Civil War memorabilia for the Union Cavalry. A very specific special interest.
I relate to the movie thing as I turn around and see that I have hundreds, nearly thousands of discs sitting behind me.
Yeah,
My wallet
same.
hurting, but I can't help it.
Yeah, it definitely helped that we were very... Oh, if we weren't playing with the neighborhood kids growing up, it was inside and watching movies, collecting more movies to watch, and even pretending to be making movies at times as well.
I think one thing that I've been very hyper fixated on for a long time is animation.
Oh, hell yeah.
The more complex an animation is, the more it draws me in, and I just want to analyze it and watch it back to back to back. Like fighting anime. I know some people have hounded on it. I love Solo Leveling because I love the fight animations. They're so detailed for no reason. Just minor frames that like it wouldn't matter if it was there or not. No one's gonna notice it. But I'm sitting there and I'm staring at it and I'm just like, I love this. I love all this detail. I love how pretty this is. I love how fluid it is. And I just hyperfixate so much.
Similar with like special effects in horror movies specifically. I'm like, oh, how did they do that? How did they blow up his head like that? Let me know.
I was...
And all the
watch
stuff.
horror
Yeah.
movies.
You can't watch horror movies? Oh.
No, the empathetic part goes back to I am empathetic to fictional characters.
Oh my. Okay, so as a child, I was like that. Like when I was 3 or 4 years old, we were watching the first Home Alone movie, and I cried because the bandits were getting hurt. I just like. I was just like sobbing. Why are they being hurt? But now that I understand the technical aspect of it, I get so fixated on that portion of it. I'm just like, oh well, that's really cool. How did they what did they rig underneath this to make it work?
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, in Home Alone, it turns out it was just stunt actors who almost died on set.
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I understand. Like, I was briefly into magic as a kid just because I wanted to understand how the tricks worked. I wanted to know how the illusions were working.
I think that's why I like problem solving so much. Is I just want to know how is this thing broken and why.
Writer, I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part. We're spreading democracy. Democracy for your oil, give to me.
No, Brian, magic like David Blaine. Or Harry Houdini.
At first, I had also thought Magic the Gathering, but then I very, very quickly realized what you were saying.
I mean,
Magic the Gathering.
People can try to discuss Magic the Gathering as much as they want to me. I'm not understanding that. That is as much as confusing as modern Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm just nodding along.
Yeah, that's not my brand.
Oh.
Yeah.
What got me into
love when
kaiju stuff?
suddenly- Oh, my bad.
Oh yeah, cool. What got me into kaijus was being a kid at a young age. When one of the fun family activities would be spending an hour in Blockbuster deciding what movies to rent, seeing Godzilla, and being like, oh, okay, I'll check this out. And then just liking big monsters do big fights. And that just stuck with me and my younger brother. We watched all the ones we could find in the Blockbuster. Shout out to that Dead franchise.
Isn't there like one surviving one?
And like Alaska,
In
or
Alaska or
something.
something.
It's technically not a Blockbuster. It's actually owned by someone else or something like that. Yeah, Ninja, it was a lot of fun being Godzilla in Fortnite.
I loved watching you two play that. It was a great stream.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah, I'm not sure how much more we have on the habits side, so we can move on to... I guess we kind of already discussed like ups and downs along the way with all of this as well. How about like we just go to one of the later things then. Feelings on like misunderstandings on the different neurodivergencies, like the idea that everyone is autistic now, or any other misunderstandings along the way, myths that we'd like to dispel.
I feel like a lot of us could ramble for ages. Go first.
I guess I know for everyone's autistic now. It's like if people talk about it, if people understand it, of course there's going to be more because we understand it. You want to like we're not locking people up because of these things anymore. It's like, and it's also a spectrum disorder. So, sorry, I'm getting discombobulated because I'm so mad about it.
Listen, there's something I actually saw recently that made me get upset, or a couple different sides that gets into the eugenics of it. One person, there's one person I'm going to talk about in a speech I have prepared later that's on one side, but another one was someone being like, oh yeah, no, autism's definitely just the next step in human evolution, right? It's like, no, that's still eugenics talk. No, don't do that.
Yeah.
And that kind of research has been disproven too. It's not our next step in evolution. It's just a disorder, a disability that some people get.
Yep, which kind of goes in hand with the whole idea of like, if something is deemed to be illegal, it doesn't mean that people are not that thing, and then suddenly they are when it's legalized, quote unquote. However you interpret the stupid laws that people think up. If you're not going to persecute someone for something, they're more likely to admit to being said thing. If you're not going to institutionalize someone, I see Ninja just said that. Institutionalize someone for being on the spectrum, they're more likely to say, hey, I am on the spectrum. But if you do persecute that and you institutionalize, then people aren't going to talk about it because they're not trying to get locked up for something that isn't like that.
We also... Sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with greater acceptance of neurodivergency, it's gonna look like the numbers suddenly increase when it's just more so people that are open to talking about it. That number has increased.
Yeah, you also just have better research, better understanding, better awareness, better acceptance, and also for some people, better access to care that helps them understand what's going on. It's like the old idea that only white boys had autism, and was very rare for anyone else to get it, was because the initial research was only done on white boys. And then when it's opened up to other groups to be studied, it's like, oh, everyone's got it. It's even across the board. And we also see there's even more numbers. Yeah, a lot of realizing the bias in the old results and fixing that really helped enlighten things.
Yes, and going back and, actually studying a lot of things more is why certain terms don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Oh boy. Oh, are we going to be talking about how one of the reasons we don't have Asperger's as a thing to say anymore is because that doctor was picking and choosing the autistic people he thought were useful.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's fuck that guy.
What a story it is. I don't dive into it too much on that one, but yeah. I just like to let people know that if they use the word hey, we don't really use it anymore for very valid reasons.
It's also just
honestly
been phased away in normal stuff too.
Yeah, it not necessary word and kind of just have a misnomer for what's actually occurring.
I think it's funny. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can go first.
I do think it's funny. There is an autistic comedian who is who's like, I don't know what to use anymore because we don't like change, but you keep changing the name. But when I was a kid, I was this, okay?
Oh yeah, reluctance to change, very common for autism. I'm better about it than I used to be. I'm better at rolling with what's going on, but yeah.
I also think that the idea of everyone is autistic now also plays into. I am looking at the sheet. The thing that comes next, and just like misunderstanding what autism is, it's kind of like the whole idea of like people saying they're OCD just because they like to have things clean. It's very harmful to groups of people to use terminology that is clearly defined, like for different things that they might experience or, symptoms to certain things, to just talk about broad general things. Like OCD is not, for cleaning. That's not really what it is. It's an obsessive compulsive disorder is the name, and it kind of spells out itself on what it really is. And it happens with all sorts of neurodivergency, in which someone will say, hey, I can kind of relate to that thing, but I did it, like in XYZ situation. Like, I guess quick example in how me and Nate have, had rituals for steps or for tiles, or I know that I've had a friend who had a ritual for like cracks, and someone will just say, well, I did that as a kid and it was just kind of a game, and say that, oh, it, like you don't actually have anything, you're just doing a kid thing, or misattributing it to something else just because they don't truly understand what is being discussed. They take the surface level conversation of it and don't really understand what is being referenced in the process of it. And I think it feeds into that idea, because there's people out there, some fucking how, who don't even think that autism spectrum is a thing whatsoever. And there's definitely malicious people in the world, but there's a lot of people that just genuinely don't understand because it's just not taught properly. It's not taught widely. Like when I was in school, there was the concept that people on the spectrum exist, but there was never a point in a class or anything where they talked about what it means to be on the spectrum, or like how different neurodivergencies impact someone's life or the things that they do. Just that, hey, this type of person exists, moving on now. And I think that really plays into these issues quite a bit. I think kind of tackling the thing that we kind of passed over is that we need to educate people more. I think education is one of the best ways to smack down a lot of bigotry in the world and a lot of other issues. Not a full solution, but it does not hurt. Education is important.
I highly agree.
And a lot of the arguments are also just anti-science
Yeah.
because they don't trust experts who've been doing this for so long. It's because they don't understand it. And like you said, just having education that's accessible to people as well, because I do feel like a lot of it can be overwhelming to try and like even get surface level understanding. And people also just don't care a lot of the time, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's another thing, just trying to get people to care. And like you were saying with like throwing around terms like being OCD, like the overuse of the term trigger, you know. Like that's a specific term for a for like PTSD, like, and it's just not understanding the things you're actually talking about and the people around you. And yeah,
Hate the misappropriation of words.
Yeah. I mean,
And
oh, sorry. I was just saying. I mean, in our outline, it was like a misunderstanding brought up is like people who just think, oh yeah, autism means quirky, right? Or autism means having a kind of interest in something. Oh yeah, I'm just being autistic about this subject. It's like, that's a misunderstanding. Please don't use it right there.
yeah. I
even
feel like it
just,
also.
sorry.
No,
I
you're
was
fine.
gonna
Go
say,
ahead.
even in this context, it's like, ugh, I cringe hearing that.
Yeah.
Icky.
Yeah.
I feel like it trivializes it to the point where it others as well. It others people with neurodivergence.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I think that's why I find it to be so important for public education. Not even diving into, like all my views on this topic as a whole, just kind of narrowly focused on this for now, because that's the point of the conversation. Is it's important to, at a young age, teach people about these things, because it's very easy for misinformation to spread. And when these things aren't talked about publicly and taught in school, it's very easy for misinformation that's already been floating around for a long time to continue to foster in younger people, because they'll hear things from older relatives. And there's a lot of situations where people are like, oh, this person's just XYZ age, they're from a different generation, just let them do their thing. And it's like, no, if you feel the need to speak up because someone's saying something that's incorrect or harmful, do so, because there's a good chance that someone else is paying attention to that. Like, for an example, I have a very large family, so like when a holiday rolls around, there's a lot of people in the house, and there's young kids that are hearing these elderly people say horrendous things. And when you correct the situation and say, hey, that's actually wrong and it's harmful and here's why, even if that person doesn't change their mind, the younger people will notice that and it will stick with them, so that when they encounter a situation in which they interact with someone who is of a different background, that they're more open to having their mind changed if they've had harmful ideology spread, or they're more open to just interacting with that person and not seeing them as weird, because kids can be kind of mean. Kids are very much prone to othering people in order to make themselves fit in more. And just teaching people about these things helps them understand how to interact with other people in a more normal way, and that there's nothing wrong with someone else just because they operate differently. It's best to dispel information earlier rather than later, when someone has been hard baked into something for decades and they want to claim, been that way since I was a kid. Well, no, it hasn't. It's just that's what you thought for some reason.
Oh yeah. Oh boy, yeah. There's a couple different things I made sure to write down on, so I didn't forget talking about them too. Oh boy, yeah, another thing that grinds my gears is the talk of when someone sees a fun display of autism and is like, oh, look at that, it's not a disability, it's a superpower. I hate that. I hate that so much. It to me, it feels like you're picking a version of autism that is worth keeping around. It's picking a disability that's worth picking and keeping around. And it's putting everyone who doesn't fit what you find fun or useful as okay to push aside.
It also feels
it when I do that.
infantilizing.
Yeah, there's that too.
And it plays into dude who made word we don't use anymore. Like, just trying to pick out the useful ones, the ones who are the good ones. In a way, it's not good. Please don't do that.
Yeah, it's still a disorder, still a disability, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing inherently wrong with that. Man. Oh boy, the other thing was... This is something I forgot to bring up back when we're talking school, but this goes into the... Oh yeah, it was a very condescending thing for people to do, Patrick, I feel like too, yeah. But it's something that's always part of the misinformation is... An old art teacher I had in elementary school, I think they were only there for like a year. Apparently during a PTA, I wasn't aware of this for years down the line, but they knew about my autism diagnosis, and in the PTA, they approached my parents and talked about how sorry they felt for having a diseased child, and that the whole time would be cured. And
that's even worse than what I thought. Oh my god.
And my mom said that she was very close to slapping that teacher on the spot for that.
The restraint. Jeez.
Yeah.
I got a lot of issues with my mom, but I will say she is the one person that did definitely do shit like that. She would slap. I appreciate it. I'll never forget.
But it's just going into like the general thing of there's a lot of people out there who also do just think autism is a disease that spreads. Instead of like understanding the truth of it, that it's genetics, some other factors that people are still trying to understand, and it's not spreading. Those autistic people were just always there and are just now being understood.
Or that one article that has been disproven over and over and over again about vaccines causing autism. What the fuck, man? Just let it die.
God damn, Ninja.
And their whole view depends on it now.
It's true.
If they wanted to know the facts, they would have looked at something other than the one side.
Yeah.
I think that's a big issue as to why a lot of misinformation just won't die on this stuff, is that for a lot of people who willingly spread harmful information on these topics, like just actual lies, a lot of their worldview is just based on very, very hollow ground that if it's knocked out from underneath them, just the world around them shatters.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter what facts you present certain people. It doesn't matter what evidence you show them. They do not care. They will find a way to say, well, you're wrong and here's why. And whatever they say won't even be an accurate or true statement, but it doesn't matter to them. They will live and die by these stupid ideas.
Reminds me of the Flat Earther documentary that went on Netflix, where one person is so sure they're gonna find evidence with this rocket they're gonna be sending up, or a hot air balloon, whatever the fuck it was, and like, oh yeah, we're gonna get a perfectly flat line. We're gonna see this thing that proves my theory, and then when the evidence came back and was like, yeah, here's a curve, here's everything that disproves you, the person was like, okay, I gotta redo the test. I obviously messed up on this. Instead of being understanding that they completely fucked up, because admitting to being wrong changes their whole life and shows they've been wasting so much time and effort on something stupid.
I think this has something about, like, it was the light hitting the lens or something, and that was their excuse, but it's the dumbest thing ever. It'd be so funny if like these people's views didn't harm other people. It would be so hilarious at times, but unfortunately it does cause so much real harm.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
What a world we live in.
Alright, are there any other myths or anything else you'd like to go ahead and say for dispelling any misinformation?
I don't think so. I think the last one that came to my mind was the whole superpower nonsense.
Eh.
And I guess also like just recognizing that it is gendered as well. The like misunderstandings. I feel like I've met people even. I work at a university and I've met people who still don't think women can have autism. They just don't get it, man.
It goes heavily underdiagnosed in women as well. People.
Yep.
AFAB people are just very commonly not diagnosed or told that they don't have something that they do have.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of stigma for it being like a masculine thing. Like ADHD, for example, is a very, very prominent one in which they'll say that it's more, and I'm hoping that it's dying off more now, but it was especially common, 2000s and earlier, that it would be seen as a male thing to have. And if you were female, they're like, no, you can't have that. That's really for boys. You're just not trying hard enough, whatever. And you'd hear it from doctors, which is so fucking depressing. Someone with a medical degree suddenly doesn't believe in the thing existing, and it's insane. So you'll have a lot of people, feminine presented people going through life struggling because they don't have certain assistance they might need, or scenarios aren't really geared towards the way they operate because they don't know what they have and other people are pretending that they don't have it. It's very unfortunate, and it's something that I'm glad that has been getting more awareness as of late because it needs to be talked about more. Being on the spectrum is not a gender thing, and by that I mean like being one gender or the other does not mean you cannot have it or will definitely have it. And a lot of the harmful rhetoric revolving around that needs to be dispelled at this point. It should have never existed.
Oh, yeah, fully sure. And for these three neurodivergence talks put together so far, I am in a way glad that I'm the only cis white man, straight white man involved, because it's great to hear other views, other ideas, other people speak about their lives from a different lens. Because people with my point of view have had their share of their stories being told, so it's good to hear a more diverse view of things.
The white guy's talking again. I'm just kidding.
It's just this white guy over here.
Unfortunately, this white guy also had a 4-page speech ready for a little bit too.
I'm gonna need you to apologize.
Get the X longer ready.
Oh boy. But yes, with us getting into the closing for this, first off, is there anything either of you would want to say to other neurodivergent people?
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with you. Just because you are neurodivergent does not mean that you are a broken person. Please do not see yourself as a fractured individual. Just because you operate differently does not make you less of a person. You deserve all the same love and attention that everyone else gets. It is not a bad thing. It is not a failure on your part. You have done nothing wrong, and you are beautiful just the same as anyone else. You are a joy to be around. Just because you operate differently doesn't mean anything to who you are as a person or your character. Just be you, live your life, and be happy. We appreciate you. We see you. You are not alone.
Thank
Oh
you
my
very
god, follow
much.
that up. Oh shit. Oh shit! That was so beautiful, Gwen. Oh my gosh. Oh fuck. Oh god. um. Very similarly, just because you're neurodivergent and neurotypical does not mean normal. You are normal just the way you are, just the way I am, just the way Gwen is and Nate is. You're doing great, and you deserve to surround yourself with people who understand you and love you just the way you are, because there's nothing wrong with that.
All right, thank you as well. All right, so how about what would you want to say to your younger self about your neurodivergence?
Aw.
Oh.
Exactly.
I'm taking ticks of damage right now. I'm trying to think on that one. I'm not one of the biggest for, like, oh, I wish I did this in my life, or I wish I did that differently. I used to do that a lot as a kid, and this is just kind of a similar realm in that for me. I hit a point in my life where I just decided to accept what has happened, and that I can't change anything, so it's best to find a way to move forward. I think for that reason, there's not much that I'd want to say to my younger self, because, I'm happy where I am currently, but I would want to tell myself probably exactly what I just said a moment ago. The same thing that I'd want to tell other people is honestly something that I also wish I had heard growing up. It would have made me feel a lot less alone and a lot less othered in various circumstances. So I think if anything, I'd probably take that.
Okay. Thank you for that as well.
I think for my younger self, I'm kind of the same way. Like, at this point in my life, I don't have many, if any, regrets. But I think I would just sit myself down and be like, hey, you're doing fine. I feel like that's the thing I needed the most, is just to know that I was doing fine. And that my life with neurodivergence isn't the hindrance that I thought it was. And it's just me. And that's great.
Heck yeah, thank you as well. Thank you both so much for this. This was a great time. I'm proud of both you, and I'm happy that you were able to, and willing to come onto this, onto this talk, and we'll share your stories, share you, and share how you view all of this as well. Very enlightening experience.
Pizza now, right?
Yeah, pizza party, right?
I'll get back to you on that. Yeah, thank you both so much.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Thanks for inviting me along. I was happy to have this conversation.
All right.
And Nate, you're really cool, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for putting this together.
Oh, thank you so much. I am thankful for everyone that's helps along here, everyone that's joined for all of these. I've honestly said this before. I forget if it was with the Maple Pixels neurodivergence talk, or it was a little bit after that. With how Facebook going, I honestly might look into reach out to other people and seeing about this being at least a monthly thing. This is really nice, and I'm glad to have this as a way to try to help others understand things and maybe realize something about themselves along the way. But yeah. Thank you all. Yeah, thank you all again. YouTube, I hope this was a good experience for you all as well as any of the other neurodivergent talks that we've had. But for now, bye YouTube. Have a wonderful day.